Hey there, welcome to Lost in Transition, the place where new leaders stop wobbling and start winning. If you're here, it tells me something really important about you, that you're either stepping into a new leadership role, or perhaps you're thinking about stepping into one, or maybe you're wishing someone had given you a better map. And you're not just searching for ideas either, you're searching for insight, the kind that shortens the learning curve, strengthens your confidence, and helps you land with clarity instead of clatter. So now, let's name what most people won't. The fact that leadership transitions can feel like walking onto a moving train. Mind your step. There's new people, new politics, new pressures, and very little time to find your feet. Some say that a healthy transition takes 3 months. Others say a year or perhaps 18 months. Either way, that's too long to wonder, am I doing this right? So today, I'm going to show you how you can use strategy development as a real confidence accelerator for you. It's going to be a way to help your team and your boss say, we're so glad that you're here. So what you're getting today is a preview of a much larger system based on my book, Lost in Transition. It's an online program designed to help transitioning leaders like yourself do 3 things fast: gain momentum, build trust, establish a reputation for exceptional leadership from day one. Now, here's something that really surprised me. Did you know that 47% of leadership transitions fail? And that's not my opinion, it's McKinsey's research. And with every failed transition costing roughly 200% of a leader's first year salary, you'd think organizations would really be spending a bit more time investing in helping leaders land well. But as you already know, they don't. Not consistently anyway. Not early enough, certainly not strategically enough. So today, we're not waiting for HR to save the day. We're taking ownership of your transition. But before we get into the how, I want you to know who you're listening to and why I care so much and so deeply about this work. Well, my name is Tony Belgrave. I'm an organization development consultant based in London, and I don't speak about leadership transitions from a podium of theory. I speak from the trenches of personal experience. I know what it's like to walk into a new role feeling capable on paper and vulnerable in reality. To have the title but not the trust. To feel the pressure, the politics, the quiet doubts. I know the stress, I know the tension, and I certainly know the please don't let me mess this up moments. And most importantly, I know what it's like to come out on the other side. Clearer, stronger, more grounded, more in command of the leader I'm becoming. And that's why I built this, to shorten the struggle for leaders like yourself, to help you move from stuck to steady to successful. So when I say new leader, I've got 3 personas in mind. I'm thinking of that brand new leader promoted for the first time, learning the ropes, discovering the realities of influence. Second is the experienced leader who has stepped into a new environment, new boss, a new team, new expectations, new stakeholders, new everything. Both groups face the same silent, high-stakes question: can I land this well? And let's not forget the aspiring leaders, the ones who aren't leading a team yet, but can feel the promotion coming. This session will help you prepare so that you can lead confidently from day one. Whether you're brand new, newly reassigned, or newly ambitious, you're in the right place. So let's not hesitate, let's begin. The moment a leader steps into a new role, something subtle but seismic happens. The floor shifts, the rules change, the room watches. You walk in hoping to make progress and instead spend your first 5 weeks trying to find your footing. And if that's you, let me say this up front. You're not broken, you're not behind, and you're certainly not alone. You're normal. A recent study found that more than 1/3 of leaders at every level describe their transition as an overwhelming or even very stressful time, and at least 5% think about quitting within those early weeks. And that's not because they're incapable, not because they're unqualified, but because leading in a new environment requires you to balance visibility with vulnerability, a paradox that no one warns you about. Most leaders feel that they can't show they're struggling, so they smile, they power through, and hope no one notices the wobble. But here's the truth. It's not the technical learning curve that makes transitions tough, it's the influence curve. You could walk in with ideas, but the ideas don't land. You give instructions, but the instructions don't stick. You try to assert authority and somehow lose altitude. You're pushing, they're hesitating. And you can feel the resistance, quiet, polite, or even painful and obvious. Ouch. Let's call that resistance what it really is, a mountain between you and momentum. Most new leaders try to climb that mountain using one of 4 strategies, and none of them works for long. Strategy 1, pull rank. You have to remind people that you're in charge. But here's something to note. If you have to announce your authority, you probably don't have any. Strategy 2, copy someone else's leadership style. You mimic the superstar leader that you admire, but imitation feels inauthentic and people can smell the not you from a mile away. Then there's strategy 3, just wing it. You hope intuition will carry you, but that often ends with mistakes that dent your credibility. And then finally, strategy 4, outwork everyone. Here you just try to prove your worth by taking on everything, but all that does is bury your bandwidth and slow your delivery. Now, these aren't leadership strategies, they're survival strategies, and survival is not the goal. So what is the real issue? Well, it's simple really. It's simple, it's clear, but it's uncomfortable. The issue is trust. Not the soft, fluffy kind, the practical kind. Your ideas land because you land kind. People aren't resisting your ideas because they're bad, though we should always stay open to that possibility. They resist because they don't fully trust you yet. And that's not a judgment on your character. It's a reflection of their uncertainty. A new leader disrupts the ecosystem. And let's face it, teams scan you the way that airports scan luggage. What's in here? Are we safe? Can we follow? So before strategy can work, before goals can click, before direction can stick, trust must be built intentionally, visibly, and consistently. And that's exactly what the Lost in Transition programs help to solve. So if trust is the real problem, what's the real solution? Enter one of my favorite frameworks from David Meister. It's called the trust equation. It's simple, it's elegant, and it explains more about leadership transitions than most 300-page textbooks. Here's a formula. Trust equals reliability plus credibility plus intimacy divided by self-orientation. So let's break that down and explore what that really means. So when he's talking about reliability, David Meister is really talking about, well, can people count on you? Do you do what you say you'll do? Leadership begins with follow-through, not fanfare. Then with the credibility, it's really about whether people believe you know what you're talking about. Not because you brag about your background, but because your competence shows in your conversations, decisions, and questions. Then there's intimacy. No, not that kind. The intimacy I'm talking about is really emotional safety. Do people feel comfortable bringing their truth, not just updates? Can they be real with you? And then there's the deal breaker, self-orientation. The higher your self-orientation, meaning the more you're focused on your reputation, your agenda, your performance, the lower the trust. If your team senses that you're there to impress, to perform, to prove, trust plummets. But when they see that you're there to understand, to serve, to support, trust accelerates. It's not magic, it's maths, and it's measurable. So our work as leaders is through people. And that's what the strategy development part of the Lost in Transition program is all about. It's to give you a clear, structured, psychologically sound way to build that trust on purpose and not by accident. And the best part? Well, your trust goes up. Everything else goes up with it. Engagement, alignment, morale, accountability, and yes, performance. Trust isn't a warm-up activity. Trust is the strategy. Whether your team is office-based, remote, hybrid, or scattered across many time zones, this process brings them together and gets them aligned. Before I became a director of transformation, I used to work in project management, and we had this quote that was often bandied around that people don't resist what they help to create. This blueprint is going to turn your strategy sessions into a co-creation session. Your transition must be seen as successful by the three groups that matter most: your team, your boss, and you. This helps you land well faster than you thought possible, and with far less stress than you've been carrying. And before you think, Tony, this sounds too good to be true, I get it. Skepticism is normal, healthy even. All I'll ask is, give me a few more minutes, because you're about to see exactly how transitioning leaders use this to influence their new team, build psychological connection, and get things done with much less friction. Are you ready? The 5 connected steps. Now let me show you the heart of this entire process. It's the part that turns scattered ideas into a strategy your team can see, feel, and follow. These 5 steps may look simple, but their power is in how they connect. Vision connects to mission, mission connects to goals, goals connects to structures, structures connect to tactics, and trust, well, that connects to everything. So now let's zoom in and walk through each step, starting with the foundation of it all, a vision so connected that your team sees themselves inside it. A connected vision is not a slogan. It's not corporate wallpaper, neither is it word salad with hope dressing. You see, a connected vision is a guiding force, a psychological magnet, a sentence that doesn't just point to the future, it pulls people towards it. And when you get this right, something powerful happens. Your team stops working for you and it starts working with you. They get it, they feel it, they own it. Because a connected vision reflects their language, their values, their direction, not just yours. A vision that truly sticks must meet 4 criteria. First, clear and concise. If it takes more than one breath to say it, it's probably too long. Aligned. It should resonate with your team's identity and connect with your organization's purpose. A bridge, not a break. 3, it's distinctive. It should sound like your team, not something copied from the wall of another department. It should be broad and yet flexible, strong enough to direct, wide enough to adapt, so that your strategy doesn't collapse the moment reality changes. These are the principles. Now let's look into the process, the simple set of steps that turn a blank page into a sentence that your team can stand behind. So let's walk through them. Step 1, revisit the team history. Before you can talk about the future, you need to understand the before you. Invite the team to take a history walk. The highs, the lows, the breakthroughs, the breakdowns, the wins that lifted them, the losses that shaped them, the turning points that still echo today. History isn't nostalgia. History is intel. It reveals what they value, what they fear, what they protect, what they celebrate. And that becomes the soil your vision will grow from. Step 2, surface the shared values. Next you ask, who are we? Who are we right now? Not who they should be, not who someone wishes they were, but who they actually are. Some teams already know their values, others discover them in the stories they tell during the history walk. Listen for clues, Pride reveals values, frustration reveals values, what they defend reveals values, what they dislike reveals values. Values aren't invented, they are unearthed. In step 3, build the vision board. Now here's where we get visual. Invite the team to create a board, images, words, symbols, metaphors that capture the future they want to build together. A good vision board bypasses jargon and goes straight to emotion because people don't follow bullet points, they follow meaning. This step sets the stage for the magic that comes next. Formulating the connected vision. With your values surfaced and your future imagined, you now translate all that raw insight into a single clear line, a sentence. No more than 11 words, short enough to remember, strong enough to guide, true enough to trust. You're not imposing a vision, you're distilling a vision. And you're taking everything they said, felt, shared, and hoped for, and shaping it into a statement they can rally behind. Will everyone love every word? Probably not. But they will recognize themselves inside it, and that's what makes this powerful. So, to illustrate the power of clear visioning, let me share 3 world-class examples, visions that are short, sharp, and memorable. So first, Tesla. Tesla had a vision to create the most compelling car company of the 21st century by driving the world's transition to electric vehicles. That was bold, that was clear, it was mission-driven. It doesn't just describe a company, it describes a movement. And then he had Google Alphabet, which had a vision around this, to provide access to the world's information in one click. Simple, ambitious, universal. A vision so clear you can feel it in your fingertips. And then there's the Airbnb vision, to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere. Now that's not about beds and rooms. That's about belonging and humanity. A vision that literally reshaped an industry. So these statements work not because they're clever, but because they're connected. Connected to purpose, connected to people, connected to values. And that's what we're aiming for with your team. Okay, tap yourself on the back. We've just built the vision, the who we are, and the where we're headed. Now we're going to shift gears a bit, and we're going to move into the mission, the why this matters, and what we're here to change. If vision is your North Star, mission is your compass. Vision inspires, mission focuses. Vision energizes, mission prioritizes. A connected mission is not a poster on the wall, it's a commitment, a choice, a line in the sand that says that these are the critical issues we exist to solve. It keeps your team from drifting, it keeps your team from bloating. It stops the temptation to entertain every bright, shiny idea that pops up in the hallway. Because when you're clear on your mission, you're clear on your no as much as your yes. So, here's a question. Could you survive without a mission? Maybe. But it's a little like rowing without a rudder. You'll move, but probably not in the direction you want. Without a connected mission, leaders struggle to inspire action, teams scatter, priorities blur, and energy leaks. And those leaks show up in all kinds of messy symptoms. Poor communication, messages get muddled, expectations unclear, everyone hears something different. Low morale and engagement? Well, here, people aren't resisting you, they're resisting the fog. Tension and conflict. When direction isn't clear, relationships take the hit. Declining collaboration. People work around each other, not with each other. And productivity drops. Confusion always costs time. Perhaps these issues were there before you arrived. Maybe they've grown louder since you stepped in. Either way, if you don't fix the disconnection, your tenure will end before your potential begins. And the good news? A connected mission fixes the fog. It clears the air and it creates focus. And now I'm going to walk you through exactly how to build a connected mission. The 3 steps to creating a connected mission. A connected mission doesn't emerge from thin air. It comes from a simple, structured, revealing conversation, 3 steps that turn scattered concerns into a single, powerful purpose or a group of powerful purposes. So let's walk through them. So first, identify the critical issues. The mission or missions must solve something that matters. So the first question is, what are the critical issues standing between us and our vision? These issues could be internal, they could be external, but they must be consequential. To help the team think broadly, we might use the PESTLE framework, which talks about the political, the economic, the sociological, technological, environmental and legal landscapes. This widens the lens, it sharpens the insights, and helps us bring clarity to what truly demands our attention. So you may ask questions like, what's the issue that we need to address? Why is this such a big deal? What happens if we do nothing? Who suffers most if we ignore this? When teams answer these questions honestly, patterns start to pop out. And those patterns point straight to the mission or the missional areas that we're going to focus on. In step 2, we start doing the work of reframing the issue into a mission statement. So here's the magic move. Take the critical issue, flip it on its head, turn it into a mission. So for instance, critical issue, there's a widening pay gap between men and women in our workplace. The mission, my mission is to eliminate the pay gap between men and women, for example. So notice the same topic, different energy. One describes the problem, the other declares our purpose. So this flip moves your team from complaint to commitment, from frustration to focus. Step 3 is all about checking alignment. A mission is only powerful if it fits. So ask, does our mission align with our vision, our values, and our organization's direction of travel? And we do this because a mission may be noble, but if it's not aligned, it becomes noise, not navigation. When the mission lines up, you can feel it. It clicks, it clarifies, it energizes, and that's how you build a mission worth following. There are 3 steps when it comes to crafting the mission. We need to be clear, the mission needs to be manageable, and it must be transformational. So now that we've built your who and your why, it's time for the next layer. What are we actually going to do about it? Enter the connected strategic goals. From mission to strategic goals, why most goals fail and what connected goals fix. Let's do a quick rewind. We started by asking, who are we? That gave us the connected vision. Then we asked, why are we here? That produced the connected mission. Now we ask the next essential question, what are we going to do about it? That's where connected strategic goals come in. A strategic goal isn't just a task, it's a shift, a deliberate, intentional movement from the current state to the desired state. But here's the problem. Most goals fail, not because people aren't talented, not because teams aren't trying, but because the goals themselves are fundamentally irrelevant. So what makes a goal irrelevant? Well, it doesn't advance the mission. It doesn't solve a critical issue. It's irrelevant if it doesn't move you closer to the vision, and it keeps you busy without making you better. In other words, an irrelevant goal is activity without impact. You've seen it. Teams chasing shiny projects, urgent distractions, or someone's pet idea. And after 6 months, they look up and realize, we've worked hard, but we haven't moved. And that's exactly what connected strategic goals prevent. So what are connected goals? Connected goals are mission aligned. They're directly addressing the critical issues you've identified. They are impact focused. They move the needle, not just the workload. They're clarifying. They tell the team what to prioritize and, equally important, what to ignore. And they're anchored in reality. Because although ambition matters, so does achievability. When you frame goals this way, something powerful happens. Your team stops guessing what matters and starts aligning around what matters most. So now that you know why connected goals are essential, let's talk about how to create them and how to make them ambitious enough to excite your team, yet clear enough to guide their daily decisions. Time to dive into the next step. How do you turn mission into meaningful, mission-aligned, momentum-building strategic goals? Well, you use a simple three-part process: analyze, filter, and formulate. So let's break it down. The analysis. This isn't guesswork, this is groundwork. To create connected goals, you first conduct a clear-eyed analysis of the environment surrounding your mission. This includes financial data, customer feedback, industry trends, competitive insights, operational bottlenecks, performance results, and any other relevant evidence. Think of this step like adjusting the lens on a camera. You gather the input so that you can sharpen the picture. Your goal? Well, the goal is to understand what's happening around you well enough to make smarter decisions within your team. This analysis reveals two things essential to strategy: opportunities, where the world is opening a door, and challenges, where the world is closing one. It also uncovers risks, the future problems that could derail progress if left unaddressed. And this step ensures that your goals aren't created in a vacuum, they're created in context. Then we've got step 2, identify the strategic themes. From all that analysis, patterns begin to emerge. These patterns become strategic themes, the major areas demanding focus. Think of it like this: data reveals themes, themes reveal priorities, priorities reveal strategy. You might uncover themes such as customer experience gaps or operational inefficiencies, declining engagement or market opportunities, emerging threats, capability shortages. These aren't goals, they're categories your goals will grow from. They're the buckets that hold the future. In step 3, we begin the work of formulating the strategic shifts. Now comes the moment where analysis becomes action. A strategic goal isn't just improve communication or increase sales. That's way too vague to inspire and too blurry to measure. A connected strategic goal is a shift, a move from where we are to where we must be. And we frame that shift with a simple formula. There's a verb, a theme, a from, and a to, and then a by, i.e. the timeline. So the verb, the theme, the from, which is the current state, the to, which is the desired state, and the by when, which is really the timeline. For example, to increase the number of first-time customers from 50 per month to 70 per month by August of this year. Now that's clear, that's concrete, it's aligned, it's achievable, and it's time-bound. It doesn't just describe the goal, it describes the journey. Strategic shifts give context, they give clarity, they give direction, and most importantly, they give your team something real to rally around. So now that you understand how to craft connected goals, it's time for the next question. Do we have the internal engine to deliver them? Because even the best strategy stalls if the support structures beneath it are shaky. And that's where we head to next. We're going to talk about the connected support mechanism: processes, systems, structures, and capabilities. So your strategic goals are now clear. You know exactly what shifts you need to create, but here's the questions most leaders skip. Do we actually have the internal engine to deliver all of this? Because a strategy without support is a racing car without wheels. It may look impressive, but it's not going anywhere. And that's why the connected support mechanism really matters. Every team, high performing or struggling, relies on 4 foundational components: processes, systems, structures, and capabilities. These are not administrative details. These are the pillars that hold your strategy up. Let's break them down a little bit more. Processes. These are your workflows, the step-by-step actions your team takes to deliver results. If your processes are clunky, your outcomes will be inconsistent. Processes reveal your discipline. Systems support your processes. They automate flow. They increase quality. They reduce cost. They reduce waste. They reduce time to do things, and they reduce rework. If your systems are outdated, everything slows down, including your team's confidence. Systems reveal your efficiency. Then we've got structures. This is your team setup, roles, responsibilities, reporting lines, division of labor. If your structure is off, even brilliant people will struggle. Structure reveals your clarity. Then we've got capabilities. This is where skill meets strategy. Your team must have competencies required to deliver the mission. If the strategy demands new abilities, then training, development, or hiring must follow. Capabilities reveal your readiness. All four components are interconnected. Change one, and the others shift with it. When your support mechanism is strong, your strategy becomes executable. When it's weak, even the best plan collapses under its own ambition. So the next step is simple but powerful. We assess each component and ask, what do we need to start? What do we need to stop? And what do we need to continue? This stop, start, continue review creates the foundation for sustainable success. And once the foundation is in place, we move it to the stage where strategy becomes motion, tactics. From support structures to tactics, the question of how. We've now built your strategic skeleton. We've got the vision, we've got the mission, we've got the goals, we've got the support mechanisms. So the natural next question becomes, how do you bring all of this to life? Because strategy without action is just imagination, and imagination without implementation is just frustration. This brings us to the final step in the whole process, connected tactics. These are not random activities or busy work described as progress. Tactics are the purposeful, priority-driven actions that move your team from intention to execution, from strategy to momentum. Tactics break your strategic goals into digestible, doable, trackable moves. Think of this step as turning a map into a journey. Strategy is the destination. Support structures are the vehicle, but tactics are the turn-by-turn directions that you take to get there. Now here's the important distinction. Most teams fail not because they lack tactics, but because they lack the right tactics. They confuse motion with momentum, movement with meaning, effort with impact. Connected tactics solve that by asking two honest questions. Which actions will create the biggest impact? Which actions will demand the least unnecessary effort? Your goal as a leader isn't to make your team busier. Your goal is to make your team better. So connected tactics align action with values, action with mission, action with vision, action with internal capabilities you've just strengthened. This ensures that everything you do moves you closer to everything you want. And now that you understand the why behind tactics, it's time to learn the how, the step-by-step process of identifying, evaluating, and sequencing the actions that will bring your strategy roaring to life. So let's dive in. Now we move into the final mile, where we turn strategy into momentum. Connected tactics don't appear out of thin air. They emerge from a disciplined, thoughtful, three-step process that transforms insight into action. So let's break it down. Step 1, the SWOT analysis. This is where internal truth meets external reality. You bring together strengths, what works, weaknesses, what wobbles, opportunities, what's opening, threats, what's looming. You gather everything you learned during the external analysis, the internal support mechanisms review, and the mission and goals conversation. The SWOT becomes your tactical treasure map, revealing where you can win quickly, where you need backup, and where danger lives. It's the springboard for the tactical ideas that will follow. Step 2. Identify the tactics. Now comes the creativity. Not random brainstorming, but strategic ideation. Your team looks at the SWOT and asks, what must we do to create the shifts we want? What actions will remove barriers? What initiatives will accelerate progress? The answers may include new products, improved processes, upgraded systems, capability building training, structural adjustments, redesigned workflows. The goal is not to generate every idea, the goal is to generate the right ideas. But remember, not all ideas are equal. Some move the needle, some barely move the dust. This leads us to the game changer. Step 3. The impact effort matrix. This simple 2x2 grid turns chaos into clarity. On one axis, we have impact. On the other, we have effort. And every tactical idea gets placed somewhere inside it. So in the top left, we have the high impact, low effort. This is what we call the low hanging fruit. And the idea is that you do these first. They're the fast wins that build momentum and morale. Next, we have the bottom left, the low impact, low effort activities. These are what I call the distractors because they're easy to do, they're tempting to chase, but they won't move you meaningfully forward. So at all costs, avoid the illusion of progress. Next, we have the top right, the high impact, high effort activities. These are the bold moves. They may take time, investment or courage, but the payoff is worth it. Next, we have the bottom right, the low impact, high effort activity. These are the no-go zones. These are the energy drains disguised as projects. So say no early and often when it comes to these. This matrix becomes one of the richest conversations you'll ever have as a team because suddenly everyone can see the strategy. They can see the difference between motion and momentum, between busy work and breakthrough, between what's urgent and what's actually important. And from this clarity, your tactical plan comes alive. Turning tactics into a plan. This is about sequencing, timing, and real implementation. So you've identified your tactics, you've sorted them by impact and effort. Now comes the moment where strategy steps into the real world. You turn your tactics into a plan. A plan answers 3 critical questions. What exactly are we doing? When are we doing it? And in what sequence will we deliver the smoothest momentum? Because tactics without timing are just ideas, and ideas without order create chaos. This is where you map out your actions visually, sequentially, and logically. Think of it like building a runway. Some actions are the concrete foundation, some are the lights on the edge, some are the final checks before takeoff. When you stack your tactics in right order, momentum builds naturally. You don't have to force it. And here's something many leaders miss. A good plan reduces friction. A great plan reduces confusion. Your tactical plan shows your team what's happening, why it's happening, when it's happening, and how it all connects to the bigger picture. This transforms anxiety into anticipation. Oh, I see where this is going. And anticipation into alignment. I know how my role fits into all of this. Once your plan is built, implementation becomes far more manageable. Not easy, because real change never is, but clear. And clarity accelerates commitment. Your team can finally see how their everyday actions build into the larger strategic story. And this is where you shift from talking about change to actually creating it. And that brings us to the 3 major outputs you'll walk away with, the tangible deliverables that prove your transition isn't just theoretical, it's strategic, it's structured, and set up to succeed. So let's spend some time breaking this down. Strategy on a page, support mechanism, tactical plan. After walking through our Lost in Transition process, you will have something most transitioning leaders never get: clarity you can hold in your hands. 3 concrete outputs that turn uncertainty into structure and structure into confidence. So let's walk through them. Your strategy document on 1 page. This is the crown jewel, a clear, compelling single-page snapshot that captures the connected vision, the connected mission, your strategic shifts, your values, your priorities. It's not a binder, it's not a folder, and it's not a file doomed to die on a SharePoint. It's a North Star on paper. 1 page, 1 story, 1 direction. Everyone can see it, everyone can understand it, and most importantly, everyone can align to it. Your connected support mechanism. This is the other output that you'll get. With this particular mechanism, you'll walk away with clarity on which processes need strengthening, which systems need upgrading, which structures need adjusting, which capabilities need developing. Instead of guessing what's holding the team back, you will know because you see it. You name it and you fix it. And this becomes your internal engine, the infrastructure that powers your success. Next, we have the tactical plan. This is the now we're serious moment. A mapped out sequence showing which tactics will be executed, when they will happen, how they will align to the strategy, and who will own them. No drift, no ambiguity, no "I thought you were doing that," no, just clarity, ownership, and momentum. But here's the most important outcome, the one not listed on paper. You've built a deep psychological connection with your team. You've involved them, you've listened to them, you've co-created with them, and because of that, they trust you, they follow you, they move with you. This is the real payoff of this process. The hard truth: strategy isn't everything. Now, before we pop the confetti and roll out the celebration banners, let's stay grounded for a moment. Because here's the truth every seasoned leader eventually learns: strategy is the easy part. It's reality that's the hard part. Even the most elegant, beautifully crafted, psychologically connected strategy doesn't guarantee success. Why? Because strategy lives in a world full of variables that you don't control. Economies shift, budgets shrink, departments reorganize, leadership changes, politics intervenes, priorities collide, people resist. You can create a bulletproof plan and still get blindsided by something outside of your sphere of influence. And that doesn't make you a bad leader. The goal here isn't perfection. The goal is preparation. To be steady in uncertainty, to be centered in change, to be grounded even when the ground moves. Your strategy gives you direction, your support mechanism gives you structure, your tactical plan gives you momentum. But your success, well, that comes from your ability to adjust, adapt, and anchor yourself when things don't go as scripted. And trust me, they won't. So yes, celebrate the work that you've done. It's significant, it's strategic. It sets you apart from the 95% of newly transitioning leaders, but also hold it lightly. Stay humble, stay flexible, stay open. Because vision gets refined, missions get sharpened, tactics get reordered, priorities get revisited. This is not a flaw in the process, it is the process. And now that we've grounded expectations, let me shift gears once again, because there's something I know about you and something I want to offer you that goes beyond today's session. So let's talk about what comes next. You've done brilliantly to get this far. You've stayed engaged, you've absorbed a lot, you've connected dots most leaders don't even know exist. But let me be honest with you in a way that many leadership programs won't be. Even if we had 4 hours together, say, instead of 40 minutes, even if I walked you step by step through every model, even if you took pages of notes and highlighted them like a neon rainbow, a single webinar will not create lasting leadership transformation. Yes, it might spark insight. Yes, it can ignite momentum. It can shift perspective. but sustainable change, that requires more than information. It requires repetition, application, reflection, guidance, real-time adjustment, and support. You see, leadership is not a moment. Leadership is a muscle. So yes, what you learned today is valuable. For many leaders, it's game-changing. But it's still just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface sits the depth, the nuance, the practice that truly helps you land your transition with confidence, credibility, and connection. What you've gotten today is the preview, the trailer. I'll even say it's the opening chapter. But what comes next is where the real shift happens. And if something in you is saying, I want to go further than this, or I want personalized support, I want someone to guide me through this in real time, then listen to that, because that's instinct. And that instinct, that's your leadership calling you forward. So let's talk about what the next step looks like. So what am I inviting you into? Now, before I tell you what it is, let me be crystal clear. This is not an invitation for everyone. I'm not looking to speak with hundreds of people who are casually curious. I'm looking to connect with leaders who feel the pull, leaders for whom the pain of staying stuck is finally greater than the fear of stepping forward. You know, the kind of leaders who know deep down that their transition deserves more than just guesswork. So I've set aside a handful of spots in my calendar over the next few days for a free 30-minute transition strategy session. I want you to think of this as a leadership reset, a recalibration, a personalized roadmap conversation designed to accelerate your transition and anchor your confidence. So there's no charge, no pressure, no obligation, just clarity, insight, and direction. But again, this is not for everyone. It's for the leaders who are ready for what comes next. And if something in you is saying, this is exactly what I've been needing, then trust that instinct. So look for the button, click it, choose a time, fill out the short form, and let's talk. This may be the conversation that changes your entire transition. Before we wrap up, I want to say something simple and sincere. Thank you. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for listening deeply. Thank you for being the kind of leader who invests in their growth rather than pretending that they don't need it. Leaders who seek clarity become clearer. Leaders who seek support become stronger. Leaders who seek guidance become grounded. And that's exactly who you've shown yourself to be. Your transition, this moment that you're in, is not just a career step. It's a leadership chapter, a defining stretch, a time when you can rewrite your story from "I hope this works" to "I know what I'm doing and why." And no matter where you are right now, confident, uncertain, inspired, overwhelmed, you are capable of more than you realize. You've already proven that by being here. So here's the last thing I'll leave with you today. Your team isn't waiting for perfection. They are waiting for your presence. Presence built on clarity, presence built on courage, presence built on connection. If you're ready to take the next step in your transition, to lead not with fear but with focus, then click the button below and book your free transition session. I'd be honored to support you. So thank you again for your time, thank you for your openness, and thank you for the leadership you're stepping into. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye for now.